Major character on an iconic show is gone and suddenly alive again, and only we have him. Let's face it, the spoiler alert period is past at this point because Chris Noth has risen to ride again with Peloton after his big exercise bike demise. Scott Evans is in New York right now with the exclusive. Evans?
Yeah, and just like that, a Peloton ad brings Big back. Talk about a pivot. Now, when I met up with Chris at his concert venue Ambhar, the Cutting Room, it was the interview that everybody wanted. So I had a ton of questions. But Chris and I started with how Big's fate was decided.
Once we're in that piano concert, going back and forth, the game over. You know.
Game over. I was like, no!
Chris told me he was not on board with his character's demise at first, revealing director and co-creator Michael Patrick King had already tried to kill off Mr. Big in the first Sex and the City film.
I originally called him and said, Michael, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Right.
Because in the original movie, which they didn't do, that happened. I said, I'm just not interested.
Oh, honey, I'm home.
First, I thought, well, maybe, you know, they try to adopt a baby. No, it's not Sex and the City. It's just like that. And in that story, Big's got to go.
John?
A dramatic end. Big's fate was sealed. Chris told me, though, he decided to have a little bit of fun on his way out.
John! John. Oh, God.
When Carrie says John for the first time.
Yeah, there's one take where I go, no, Big. I did one take. And then Michael said, maybe bring that down a little. Okay.
Welcome to Peloton.
Peloton stock reportedly took an 11% dive after the show dropped, following Big's post-workout heart attack.
They said the shares went down.
I bet they did.
Oh, no.
I'm really sad about that.
He'll go back up.
They'll go back up.
And perhaps Chris helped with that.
To new beginnings.
To new beginnings.
He reunited with instructor Jess King in a hilarious new ad for the workout bike, produced and narrated by Ryan Reynolds.
And just like that, the world was reminded that regular cycling stimulates and improves your heart, lungs, and circulation as he's alive.
A cardiologist who's on Peloton's Health and Wellness Advisory Council also released a statement reminding viewers that Mr. Big, quote, had a previous cardiac event in season 6. And given that he had a number of vices, getting regular exercise likely prolonged his life.
It was the cigar. Nah, I don't know what that is. It was just time to...
But Chris adds that just like in his new Peloton commercial, there's a chance at least part of Big still lives on.
Nobody ever really dies because you're always in the minds of people. So there may be a little more Big to come.
I remember when you kept your sweaters in the stove.
I remember when your hair was black.
Oh, that's really...
Last bit of fun in the kitchen before, well, you know. What's Sex and the City, though, without a drink in your hand? I got to sample a favorite of Chris Noth's at his concert venue Ambhar, the Cutting Room. It was made by bartender Heather and appropriately called the Straight Up Big. And Chris's place is pretty sweet. This is one of those quintessential New York venues, right? It's like music, it's food, it's booze, it's culture.
It's music, gathering people together.
I've heard a story that Lady Gaga played a show here, and it led to her getting signed, like discovered, like the whole deal.
At our original space on the Ambhar grand piano we have on stage.
Up here?
Yep.
Chris and the New York Hotspot's co-owner Steve Walter are continuing the Cutting Room's iconic legacy at its new home on East 32nd Street. Aside from the great music, guests can also enjoy a legendary drink like the Mr. Big cocktail made from Ambhar tequila, which Chris is the face of.
Cheers.
But I am curious to know, were you ready to say bye to Mr. Big?
Yeah. You have to remember there was a 10-year gap.
Of course.
What I'll miss is the camaraderie.
You talk about the camaraderie, and you talk about the thing that you miss.
One of my favorite scenes. That had to be one take and one take only. So we had to fully commit. Look at her.
Come on, right?
It was like,
look at y'all.
And she lost something. I had to dive under and get it. That was a great day. There were so many great days.
A memory Chris is not so fond of, feeling the wrath of Carrie for leaving her at the altar in the first Sex and the City movie.
Getting hit with a dozen roses for about 20 takes is not fun.
You paid for that.
Oh, my God. And she went at it. I said, stop being so method. I know you're angry, but my head is hurting.
Well, I mean, I guess they did remove the thorns, but if we're being honest, he did kind of deserve it. Listen, though, if you're ever in the New York area, check out Chris's The Cutting Room. It's a great night on the town. Mario, Kit.